It's official, as you see there. Mark Carney is in, and he's about to have two more high-profile opponents. Former Finance Minister Freeland and current government House Leader Karina Gould are both prepping to launch their campaigns this weekend. Carney made the announcement this afternoon in Edmonton. We are now joined live by three MPs who have picked their preferred leader. Edmonton Liberal MP George Chahal is here. He's actually Alberta. He's not from he represents Calgary. My apologies. He's backing Mark Carney. Winnipeg MP Kevin Lamoureux is here. He's declared for Freeland. And Hamilton MP Lisa Hepner, who supports Karina Gould. Hi, everybody. Very nice to see you. Thank you very much for making the time. Mr. Chahal, I wanted to start with you. I just listened to the question and answer. It just wrapped up with Mr. Carney. A number of questions about what kinds of policies he would pursue. He did not answer any of them specifically, said that's coming over the next few weeks. So what exactly is the pitch to Liberals and Canadians who are watching today?
Thanks for having me, Vassy. Well, first of all, it was an exciting afternoon here in Edmonton. And Mark had a great crowd and a lot of excitement at the campaign launch. Mark clearly said that he, in the days and weeks ahead, will bring forward an economic plan to stand up to the challenges we're faced by Canadians with the President-elect Trump's tariffs. And he's looking forward to work on behalf of Canadians to make sure that we have strong leadership. And with his economic credentials, his experience dealing and navigating through challenging times, whether it be here in Canada as the Bank of Canada governor or in the UK with the Brexit, he told us today how committed he is to make sure that he can lead Canada into the future with economic prosperity and opportunity for all Canadians to participate in our economy.
Yeah, I certainly take your point, Mr. Chahal, that he conveyed his background and his experience, which is, nothing to knock at. But I do think there was an appetite to find out, well, what exactly does that mean? How will you tackle this system that you have now said doesn't work for us? I mean, it's not as though this happened overnight. There's been lots of speculation that Mr. Carney would run. He couldn't even answer the most basic question, which was, will you not pursue a consumer price on carbon? He said, he sort of alluded to the idea that there could be other things, but that would have to replace it. But he wouldn't be specific. Isn't that problematic?
Well, no, I think he clearly stated what his plan will be moving forward. In the days and weeks ahead, he will be outlining his ideas and his plan for Canada. And I think that's important that to launch today, we've seen that all the local journalists had the opportunity to ask him a number of questions. But a lot of our constituents here in Edmonton got an opportunity to meet him and ask him those questions as well. And so I think he was direct and forthcoming on his plan moving forward. His strength on the economy to standing up to President-elect Trump and making sure that we have a strong, united Canada and strong leadership to do so. And I believe Mark Carney provides us that opportunity to defend Canada and is a change candidate coming in from the outside into our caucus, hopefully soon, to lead and also to lead our party and to become the next prime minister.
Okay, I'd just very quickly point out he wouldn't even say where he was running, but we'll revisit that in a moment. Mr. Lamoureux, I wanted to ask you about Ms. Freeland. A source close to her told my colleague Mike LeCouture, who published this morning, that she will abandon the consumer price on carbon. I have to ask you, I have interviewed Ms. Freeland on multiple occasions where she's voraciously defended that policy. How on earth is she now going to convince Canadians she doesn't believe in it?
Well, I suspect there's no one inside the House of Commons that has actually defended that policy more than I have over the last number of years. I think that Canadians have been afforded an opportunity to witness change. And this is what change looks like when you actually get a politician that's reaching out, trying to say, hey, look, we have made a lot of policy decisions over the last number of years, and some of those policies have not been well received across the nation. When I was talking with Christia about her possibly running in the leadership, that was one of the topics. How do we ensure that the type of change that Canadians want to see can be seen within the Liberal Party under her leadership? Because I don't like the alternative of Pierre Poilievre. That means we as a party have got to demonstrate that. And I think that her announcement, or what will hopefully be her announcement in regards to the carbon tax, is something in which I fully support. Because at the end of the day, we can say we have a good, sound policy, but if it's not being received well by Canadians and we want to see the change, I think that's what we should be doing, is listening to what Canadians are saying.
But with all due respect, why hasn't your government, and Ms. Freeland in particular, who stood as the Deputy Prime Minister, been doing that already? I mean, you've spent the last 18 months ridiculing the leader of the opposition for saying axe the tax, and now you're promising to do exactly that.
Well, you know what? In the last federal election, Pierre Poilievre and 337 other Conservative candidates toured the country. It was in their election platform that they too were in favor of a price on pollution. At one time, the NDP did also. So the Conservatives were the first party collectively to change their position. Under Chrystia Freeland, we are going to be hopefully changing that position. That's what I'm hoping to see. I see that as a good thing.
That sort of answers my question, but not completely. I want to move on to Ms. Hepner. We know where Chrystia Freeland stands. We kind of heard a bit of where Mark Carney stands on policies like that. What is Ms. Gould's stance? Is she going to continue to endorse the policy that her government has proudly stood by, a consumer price on carbon?
Well, I'm certainly not going to get ahead of the announcement that I hope she'll be making this weekend. So I can't speak to her platform, but I can absolutely speak to why I'm supporting her. And given that I have the utmost respect for the other candidates in this leadership race, for me, Karina Gould has really stood out as a leader of our government in the House of Commons. I first met her when I was a news reporter and was covering the fact that she was the youngest ever cabinet minister. We met up at a Burlington high school she had attended many years before. And literally educator after educator was coming up crying, having a reunion. I'm telling you, everyone who's ever met this woman loves her. Everyone who's worked for her is devoted for life. And I just can't wait for the rest of Canada to really get to know her better. And I think she's absolutely proven over the past few years how she can stand up to Pierre Poilievre in the House of Commons. She's always calm and smart and straightforward and good-natured and kind at the same time. And I really appreciate that.
Regardless of that, and I do take your point, when I look at public opinion polling specifically on this race, both among Liberals and the general population, she hits somewhere between 1% and 5%, even when it comes to recognition. Can she really mount a campaign that would see you and your party challenge the Conservatives, which, by the way, are 20 points ahead of you right now?
Well, I take into consideration the fact she's been volunteering and a member of the Liberal Party since she was 14 years old and basically whipped up that riding association herself as a teenager and grew up in that party. So she may not be well known across Canada at the moment, but she's really well known amongst core Liberals and people who have been involved in the party. So I think the first part, getting to know Liberals who are voting for the leadership, is kind of there. And I do think there's time after that, absolutely, for Canada to get to know her better.
Okay, I'm going to leave it on that note. I appreciate all three of you making time for the conversation tonight. Thank you so much to George Chahal, who is supporting Mark Carney, to Kevin Lamoureux, who is supporting Chrystia Freeland, and to Lisa Hepner, who is supporting Karina Gould. We'll look forward to the rest of the candidates announcements this weekend. Thank you, everybody.